I get the feeling like we're close to the end, and I assume there's different endings for this, depending on how this ending goes. I don't know if I'll get like all of them or not. Like usually I play a game like this, and I get a single ending, and that's my canon ending, and I don't necessarily go out of my way to see the others. If this is an incredibly bad one, like obviously I don't just end at bad ends, except for if a bad end is the ultimate result of the end of the game. I might go for a neutral end or something, I don't know. We've been very compliant. I don't know what's gonna happen. Amidst the fuzziness, I had a dream. Just wanted to preface this. So, like, if you expect me to play through this in like 100%, you might want to look up another playthrough, I guess. Depending on how it goes. Like, if the ending is just a single decision at the end, I'm like, that's usually where I go and reload and like experience them all. But that's also not a very good game design for visual novels in general, or games in general, really. It seemed to be an afternoon after school. My mother hugged me so tight that it made my arms uncomfortable. She kept crying and apologizing, wetting my face with endless teardrops. Why was she crying? I blankly looked at my emotionally collapsed mother. Even the supposedly familiar face appeared unfamiliar at that moment. Even though she was the one who betrayed father. Oh, so it's us remembering, not her. Even though she was the one who abandoned us. So why did she look so sad? I couldn't ask the simple question from my heart, yet a voice answered nonetheless. That's how the adult world works. Yeah, that is like a cop-out answer though. There was a depressed yet still young voice. Within the darkness I realized that was none other but my own voice. Oh, you gave yourself a cop-out answer. To cope, I guess. Adults can't help themselves. They are degenerates after all. I woke up from a dream in shock with the realization that my face was all wet. Oh my god, was she sitting on it or were we crying? I couldn't recall the details of the dream itself, just a sense of bitterness weighing on my chest, rendering me breathless. There were a few spots of white light from outside on the ground. It was so quiet I could hear my own heartbeat and the wind from the window. It was probably 4 or 5 a.m. Must have woken up early because I slept way too early the day before. I sat up to stretch my body, with the joints making clear cracking sounds. The last bit of my dream vanished with the morning light. I noticed the girl was leaning against the door with the blanket. With her knife next to her body, she had clearly fallen into a deep sleep. Is that not my time to stab her? Worrying I might escape, she didn't even want to sleep in an actual bed. Take the knife? No. I thought the game was gonna give me a choice. She had a slender body clearly due to malnutrition and the unkempt shoulder-length long hair that was tangled in multiple places. Shoulder-length long hair? I think you can just scratch the long in this sentence, like syntax-wise it makes more sense. Her long eyebrows wrinkled together as though she couldn't find peace even in the dream. Her long hair didn't seem very healthy and even the color was not consistent. Yeah, because I assume she dyes it? If this is a natural phenomenon, like the red, whatchamacallit, red ends to the hair. Red tips, I think tip is the word I was looking for. That is not natural. One probably couldn't care less about their hair when eating for the night alone was an uncertainty. She could be a beauty if she cleaned herself up and maybe put on some makeup. Wow. You don't need makeup to be a beauty. Just saying. Like if you're a woman watching this, or girl, I don't know, and you think you need makeup to be beautiful, you don't. 99% sure you're already beautiful the way you are. I do like girls without makeup anyway. I like it more. It looks so fake with makeup. I don't like it very much. Maybe it's my personal thing. Maybe I guess it's highly subjective. Carefully observing her asleep face, I almost forgot she was the kidnapper. Having a totally different family might have led to a totally different life for her. The world is not fair, I murmured what she had said and wondered what emotion did she say that line with. Helplessness towards the society? Self-pity? Rage against the rich? I decided to stop thinking about it and focused on figuring out what to do. I was hopeful for a second here. Pull the rope, rest. Let's rest. We've been a bitch all game, with the occasional outburst of irrational anger, I guess. There was no point to risk this much. They might just let me go after tonight. Huh. Hearing her voice, I was glad I didn't try anything crazy. Finally managed to let her drop guard on me. Oh, pardon me. I just needed to be patient and wait for the opportunity. Good morning. What are you doing? She tiredly yawned. Yawned, I guess, and looked at me unpleasantly. What is this? A single sentence with 2 typos? Wait for breakfast. Breakfast is you! Let's make some omelette, punches him in the nuts. She clearly didn't buy it and walked to me with the knife. She checked if the rope was loose. You're free once your dad pays today. No funny business. Alright. Better keep your mouth shut and say nothing, got it? Jeez, I mean, calm down. You'll never make friends if you're this bossy, you know? I responded jokingly, but she didn't seem to appreciate it. She stared at me briefly and decided to say nothing more. She then walked to the bathroom to clean up. Is that her pissing? That's a powerful piss. Huh, unlikely as it might be, but if they were going to pay the ransom, they would let me go without me risking anything. The real problem would be if it was just to buy time. I wasn't sure what they would do if pushed forward. Either I escaped on my own or waited for the police's rescue. Well, I would worry about that after tonight. Yeah, we'll cross that bridge once we get there, right? That's how I usually do things. What now? Can we talk to her some more? But what's next? You look really tired. You look fucking awful. None of your business. Oh my god, she looks so defeated. She replied sourly, yet the thick dark circles under her eyes said it all. Guarding me around the clock, plus the heavy mental stress for the heavy metal had taken quite a toll on her body. Get some rest if you're not feeling well. Oh, how nice of you. Save your breath if you just want me to drop my guard. I can't move around tied up like this. Besides, I'll be out of here if you get the money today. I'm not so dumb as to risk my own life. You better remember that. She grunted and relaxed herself a little next to the wall. Oh, I think it had some effect. What now? There's not much to observe here anymore, is there? Like, I can observe the... Why can't I observe the bathroom still? I thought it would only work when the little girl was there. Damn, too small. Okay, some sunlight went through the foggy window, but it was still too small for a person to fit through. I would argue that I would be able to fit through that, and I'm not like the lankiest character. Let's continue talking then, I guess. I don't really want to rest. Resting is like... resting is for pussies. What's next? What's gonna happen? Hey, what's your plan after getting the money? What do you ask? She suspiciously turned her head to me. Sorry, I can't read. It's not the game's fault. Waiting for my answer. Just curious. How boring. During the long wait, I had nothing to kill time with but chatting. She stayed silent for a bit, tapping the cigarette ash on the desk, and quietly opened her mouth. I want to start over somewhere where no one knows about me. Is that how it works? Don't you, like, if you have a criminal record, you will take that with you anywhere, except for maybe, like, a different country, and even then. The face of the girl stating her vision was so determined, like some pious nun praying. There was neither passion nor desire. Just serenity. I don't care what kind of job I get. I just want to save some money and live a normal life where I can sleep under a roof and eat properly. You can't do that now? It didn't sound that impossible. She could have just grabbed a knapsack and gone off to the countryside like those work exchange folks. Now? She laughed and waved a hand as though I just asked something really stupid. No fucking way. Even if you change your face or name, they'll still hunt you down as long as you owe them money. So, it's not society's fault she's down in the dumps, it's more like a criminal's fault, really? Of course one could ask now, oh, why did she have to resort to borrow money from a criminal who's obviously gonna make her pay? But even then, I guess maybe she could have looked for work rather than getting into debt with, again, a criminal? Whatever. But even if you got the money and paid off the debt, could you really get out of this that easily? Whether through surveillance camera footage or call records, it was impossible to escape from the pursuit of the police thanks to modern technology. When is this taking place? Do we have a year? Like, considering there's like a 3310 on there? Is this, like, the late 90s? Early 2000s? Early 2000s already would have phased out the 3310, right? When was it? Like, I owed one. No, actually, it must be the early 2000s because that's when I owned one. Even. Yeah, I think it was like 12 or 13 when I had one. So that must have been like 2003 or 2004. Escaping abroad might be an option, but the language barrier and the lack of cash would also be problematic. I didn't know she had thought about this, but it was weird for me to ask her anyway. Is that strange to you? Nope, I thought of similar things. I think everyone has. Everyone has thought of these things. I assume going someplace where no one knows who you are. Away from the stigma or any expectations, just to live as your true self. Yeah, because that's what you do as a foreigner. You go into another country and you have no stigma anymore. What? Oh, why would you want that? Are you still not satisfied with your life? Men are greedy animals. Haha. Noticing I didn't speak the truth, she hesitantly opened her mouth, but nothing came out in the end. She couldn't seem to calm down on the big day. Pacing around the room, she kept checking her phone screen. Ooh, a weird effect is happening again. A sound from outside the door. Come on, flip, any second now. Judging from the girl's shocked reaction, I wasn't imagining it. Who could that be? Flip, and we're back. There were questions in my mind, but I was pressed against the wall before I could even open my mouth. The girl covered my mouth in panic and raised the knife against my neck. The blade was so close, I wouldn't dare to move an inch. Don't move. Okay, shut up. She didn't tell me not to say anything, she just said, don't move. Not able to stop the trembling in her voice, she put more force into her hand. The sharp end would step into the throat with a simple push. It didn't appear to be an accomplice. Since it didn't appear there were any other residents, one wouldn't expect a sudden visit. What about the small girl? But the little one? The police, maybe? They might be able to find me through the surveillance camera or cell phone signal, but could they find us this quickly after only a few days? Yeah, I think like cell phone signal is like a matter of 5 minutes and they can find you. Following the train of thoughts, the steps got closer, then it stopped right before the door. There was no hesitation, straight to the destination. In other words, they knew there was someone here. As though waiting for something, there was no sound outside of the door. No one seemed to want to break the silence. Her tense right hand trembled a little. I could see the sweat dripping down the cheek. Big sis? It was so obvious it was her! Why would they know in which location they are exactly? And why didn't she anticipate her being the one? People don't just randomly waltz into abandoned apartment buildings. The little girl's voice came through the door. That was just tension for the sake of tension now, and I don't really like that as like a tool to make your story better. Huh. She breathed out heavily and dropped her arms as though exhausted. She opened the door to greet her. I mean, it could be possible that this happens, right? It is a possibility, but it felt so out of place just now. She opened the door to greet the little girl who was carrying a bag and looked at her big sis innocently. What are you doing? Do you know how dangerous it is? If you didn't make a sound, I might have attacked you. Sorry, did she not expect her? That is my question now. It was rare to see her getting mad at the little girl, who lowered her head apologetically. Through the door I could see the view of the stairs. The red armrest and grey wall were the common side of an old apartment. Whatever, as long as it's not the cops, I assume. What's happening? Why is she looking so shocked? Wait, didn't I tell you not to come? Okay, maybe that's why, but even then you would... My first thought would be the person I told not to come to actually show up rather than someone entirely unexpected. What happened? Who asked you to come here? She raised her head suddenly and started to shake the little girl's shoulder with a nervous expression. No one. Then why did you? I just want to be with Big Sis. Her direct response rendered the girl speechless, who became lost in thought while rubbing the little girl's head. What? The little girl's motive was simple. She just wanted to be with her big sis, but her sister had more to consider. How to avoid police pursuit, what to do after getting the money. As difficult as it was to escape on her own, let alone taking care of the little girl. Why did you bring so many things? Deciding to let it go, she took the plastic bag. Miss Wang asked me to bring them over. She said they were leftover. She knows? You just know that she knows. I don't know. She just said you should take care of yourself and let her know if you need help. She seemed to lose her usual cool with her head lowered depressingly. Big sis. Like, these weren't here before, by the way. Maybe I should have taken a look around on the observation screen. Miss Wang seems worried about you. Looking at the hesitating little girl, she bit her lips and finally spoke after a while. Yes? I can't tell if the game is loading sometimes or if it's just dramatic pause. Don't worry, it will be all over soon. She managed to smile while rubbing the little girl's hair. Noticing the name that was brought up. Who was this Mrs. Wang they were talking about? Sorry, it's just... Let's ask, actually. Let's ask. Come on. Let me join in this conversation. Who is Miss Wang? Ouch. Ignoring the fact that the little girl was right next to her, she gave me a solid kick. Don't get cocky. I told you to shut up. Why you... This is ridiculous. You don't do that. You don't zoom in one sprite and let the second appear like that. It's like she's tiny now. Oh, she's huge. I don't know. The little girl looked at me let's take a screenshot of that. Come on, Lambda. If you're listening to this, I know you are. You're watching this back. I know you. Take a screenshot of this. Use it as a thumbnail. It will be fucking funny. The little girl looked at me worriedly, but was too scared to ask anything. Whatever. It might be for the best. She passed the knife to the little girl and started to leave the room with the cell phone impatiently. Keep an eye on him for me. I'm going to give a call and find out what's going on. They didn't pick up the phone. She impatiently mumbled and was about to step out of the room. Calling whom? You'd think we would have learned our lesson by now. What part of shut up don't you understand? She coldly stared at me. It's none of your business, got it? Okay. Just eat the bread if you're hungry. There's also enough water. I'll be back soon, so don't you think about untying yourself. Hey, what if there's a fire? Then you will be burned to death. I don't care as long as she escapes. Fighting for my privilege only got me a merciless look, with the little girl quietly nodding on the side. Wow, what a little bitch. I will remind you again, no funny business. What else can I do? Barbecue? Does this constitute as funny business when you make a joke after someone tells you not to do that? She wanted to say something while staring at me, but eventually she just grunted and left. Which is exactly Secretary's reaction to me making dumb jokes. So this is kind of endearing. I do enjoy this. The door closed and there were only me and the little girl. We would learn if the ransom really arrived tonight or not. They would only keep a close eye on me if the negotiation continued. If I wanted to run, now would be the best chance. The little girl had less strength than her sister, nor was an on guard of me as she used to. As on guard. All these choices were like gambling. You never knew what would be your next card. The only thing that mattered was that you only had one chance to bid. Yeah, but let's not. Come on, let's just stay here. Maybe they will develop like a reverse Stockholm syndrome and fall in love with us. I don't know. Let's check. That Miss Wang you just mentioned. Thank you for helping me. Right, I almost forgot to thank you. Why are you thanking me? I was sick a few days ago. That was yesterday, wasn't it? Weren't you the one that asked you to buy me some medicine? No, Big Sis would have helped you anyway. She awkwardly avoided my gaze, as though admitting that helping me was something to be embarrassed about. I understood her conflicted mind. To her, my gratitude might not be praise, but criticism. What? What? Why? I don't understand that. We're gonna observe this just for a quick second, because I'm curious. Colored paper and origami cranes are scattered on the ground. All these clean folding lines are from the same hands of the young girl. Wow, that didn't help us at all.